A very good evening to you. And welcome along to another Sweet and Swing here on Manx Radio. My name's Howard Kane. As always, a pleasure to have your company. And what have we got? Well, you know, I thought we might have a bit of a special this evening. If you, like I've been watching a lot of the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings, all those memories, how grateful we all are for all those who are in service, some who gave their lives and fought for all those years against what I think we can happily agree was a definite tyrant of the time. How grateful I was. I wasn't there to have to do it myself. Anyway, enough philosophizing. Some music from the wartime years. 8 years on from D-Day.
Again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
We shall fight in France, we shall fight on the seas and oceans, we shall fight in the air, we shall never surrender.
I hear the bugle, hear its silvery call, carried by the night air.
We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rub along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if that Siegfried line's still there. Mother dear, I'm writing you from somewhere in France, hoping this finds you well. Sergeant says I'm doing fine, a soldier and a half. Here's a song that we all sing, this'll make you laugh. We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line. Have you any dirty washing, mother dear? We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, 'cause the washing day is here. Whether the weather may be wet or fine, we'll just rub along without a care. We're going to hang out the washing on the Siegfried line, if that Siegfried line's still there. just run along without a care. We're gonna hang out the washing on the Siegfried Line, if that Siegfried Line's still there.
I give you a toast, ladies and gentlemen. I give you a toast, ladies and gentlemen. May this fair land we love so well in dignity and freedom dwell. Though worlds may change and go awry, while there is still one voice to cry. There'll always be an England, while there's a country lane. Wherever there's a cottage small beside a field of grain, there'll always be an England, while there's a busy street. Wherever there's a turning wheel, a million marching feet. Red, white, and blue, what does it mean to you? Surely you're proud, shout it aloud, Britain's awake. The Empire too, we can depend on you. Freedom remains, these are the chains, nothing can break. There'll always be an England, and England shall be free. If England means as much to you as England means to me. Red, white, and blue, what does it mean to you? Surely you're proud, shout it aloud, Britain's awake. The Empire too, we can depend on you. Freedom remains, these are the chains, nothing can break. There'll always be an England, and England shall be free. If England means as much to you as England means to me.
The first one is the second ship, moving up like a huge shadow here in the quiet of the English countryside. And it's racing up. It seems that each succeeding ship gets louder and louder. Listen to this one.
Listen to Mademoiselle La France. I double dare you to venture a raid. I double dare you to try and invade. And if your loud propaganda means half what it says, I double dare you to come over to me. I double dare you.
People of Western Europe, a landing was made this morning on the coast of France by troops of the Allied Expeditionary Force. This landing is part of the concerted United Nations plan for the liberation of Europe.
The British, Canadian, and American troops who landed on the coast of France on a front sufficiently broad to be more than a bridgehead.
There's something in the air.
I'll never forget the people I met, braving those angry skies. I remember well as the shadows fell, the light of hope in their eyes. And though I'm far away, I still can hear them say, thumbs up. For when the dawn comes up, there'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be love and laughter and peace ever after. Tomorrow, when the world is free, the shepherd will tend his sheep, the valley will bloom again, and Jimmy will go to sleep in his own little room again. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. Tomorrow, just you wait and see.
From where I am, standing between the two pilots of this glider, I can see the navigation lights of the tug in front of us, and off to left and right, the navigation lights of other tugs and other gliders bound on the same mission.
Here's an announcement from headquarters of the Supreme Command AEF. We're initiating today a radio broadcasting service for the members of the Allied Expeditionary Forces. We shall go forward together to victory and on the forward road.
With the Moonlight Serenader, presenting the American band of the AEF under the direction of Major Glenn Miller, with tonight's starring guest, Britain's own regimental sergeant major, George Malacrino. And here is Major Glenn Miller.
Once we heard the happy sound of a music-hungry bunch of servicemen yelling for more, whatever we had to offer, we knew that we could never enjoy a more satisfying payoff in our lives.
This is the AEF program.
Hello again. To open the program, we have some old friends, the concert orchestra of the RAF Radio Production Unit under Pilot Officer Sidney Torch, to bring you a selection from a popular Hollywood picture of some time back, Cotton Club Parade.
The curé of this little Normandy church, 2 or 3 miles from Caen, wants me to say how sorry he is about these bells. His village has only just been liberated, and it's taken until yesterday to clean up the many German snipers left in hiding. but it was found that they had smashed the big bell of the carillon. But he added that in any case, they were going to ring the remaining 2 bells at once this morning to celebrate our coming. And I thought that you would rather hear the bells now, even though the big one has been smashed by the Germans, to let you know that the people of Normandy are celebrating their liberation, that church bells are ringing, and the villagers are going to Mass to give thanks for their freedom.
While the Allies in Italy have advanced...
The Homecoming Waltz with Ivy Benson. Sadly, of course, not everyone did come home. And there are those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for others. Like me, really, way down the line. It makes you think, doesn't it? Just a little tribute there to the 80th anniversary of the D-Day landings. I'm sure you've been seeing some of the coverage on television over the last day or two, and the brave few who are left. Not many of them now, are there? All in their 90s, or must be that sort of age now. Some in their wheelchairs and some with walking sticks. Some, I saw one or two looking incredibly sprightly. There was a 90-year-old gentleman I saw yesterday meeting the King. He looked about the same age as me. Incredible. But my goodness, yes. What a debt we owe them, is all I can say. I hope you enjoyed that little look back to what mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day. We're going to keep the rest of the programme war-themed, I think, but more in a standard format. But I thought we couldn't let that pass with it being such a momentous day and so many wonderful sights and sounds on the TV. And again, those brave few are still left going over to celebrate that time. It is Sweet and Swing. It is H with you in any case. Let's carry on all with that sort of wartime feel, I suppose, or music from those years. How about this one? Flying Home, Lionel Hampton and the Boys. Lionel Hampton and his band. And yes, Flying Home, great track and beautifully played. Always love to hear the vibes. I know I've got a friend who's not a great vibes fan. I don't know why. What's not to like about the vibes is what I'd ask. Particularly when they're played as well as Lionel could play them. Wonderful stuff. And very nice indeed. I'm just thinking I didn't actually tell you about the music in that little opening section. I'm sure you recognise most of it in any case. All pretty famous tracks. But we had a little bit of Flanagan and Allen, didn't we? Hang out the washing on the sea, free light. Yes, classic. Used to do a Flanagan and Allen act with my brother back in the day. Should revive it again. Still got the hat somewhere. They'll always be in England. Good patriotic stuff, isn't it? Sort of thing you expect to hear on the proms or the last night of the proms. Do they do that? The last night of the proms? I know they do Jerusalem and such like, but do they do They'll Always Be in England? Or is it seen as too jingoistic these days? I don't know. It wasn't back in the day in any case. We also had There's Something in the Air, the theme tune, I think, for the Squads, the Squadronaires, of course. Great band, went for so many years. We're Coming Home with Ivy Benson. That was a lovely waltz to finish off. And I think we also had, of course, Vera Lynn in there as well, didn't we? Singing The White Cliffs of Dover, if memory serves correct. A happy mix. And we heard from Churchill. There was Eisenhower talking there. The reportage from the Normandy liberations and such like. Incredible. I'm always amazed that so many of these recordings actually still exist, particularly some of the foreign ones. But yes, quite an archive. Manx Radio's got an archive as well, which we're wading through, but it doesn't go back that far, I'm afraid. Not from that point of view, in any case. It is jumping in. We're doing a little sort of wartime special, and hope you didn't miss that little part at the beginning, our little celebration. If you did, of course, go back and get it on the podcast. Always there just straight after the programme. Go to the Max Radio website or your usual podcast provider, which I think most people do. And the case of you can listen whenever you want, wherever you want. That's the most important thing, isn't it? And a lot of people do. And all over the place. Yes, Abu Dhabi was the most recent one, but looking on our new system, I can see there are people listening in other parts of the world as well. So, yeah, we'll come back to that next week, I think. Why not? For the time being, let's carry on with our wartime theme. And how about a bit of boogie?
Out on the plains, down near Santa Fe, I met a cowboy right in the range one day, and as he jogged along, I heard him singing a most peculiar cowboy song. It was a ditty he learned in the city. Come-a-tie-yi, come-a-tie-yip-tly-yi, get along. Get hip, little doggies, get along. Better be on your way, get along. Get hip, little doggies, and he trucked them on down the old fairway, singing his cow-cow boogie in the strangest way. Come-a-tie-yi, come-a-tie-yip-tly-yi, singing his cowboy song. He's just too much. He's got a knocked-out western accent with a Harlem touch. He was raised on local weed. He's what you call a swing half-breed, singing his cow-cow boogie in the strangest way. Come-a-tie-yi, come-a-tie-yip-tly-yi. Yip, yip, singing his cowboy songs. Yip, yip, as he was juggling along. Yip, yip, he sings with a Harlem touch. Yip, yip, that cat is just too much, singing his cow-cow boogie in the strangest way. Come-a-tie.
Ella Mae Morse with Cow Cow Boogie. And yeah, wonderful singer, great pianist as well. And again, another one of those characters which, well, you might not remember too much about it. Who does? How many of these people disappear into the archives, as we say? Just, well, I don't know. Would you trot off Ella Mae Morse to many people and say, oh yes, of course, everyone knows who she was? An American singer of popular music, and her recordings had jazz and blues and some country influences as well, and was at the sort of very beginning of rock and roll in many ways. Cow Cow Boogie there, 1942, and she also did with Freddie Stack and his orchestra, and it gave Capitol Records their first really big record there, the gold record with that. And then in 1943, her single Get On Board, Little Chillin', also with Freddie Stack's, charted in what would be the R&B charts. So she sort of crossed over, as it were. Born in Texas and originally hired by Jimmy Dorsey when she was just 14 years old. And by the age of 17, she'd joined Freddie Stack's band, I should say, and went on to record Calico Boogie, as we heard. But now, yes, take your pick. Would people remember her? Probably not. But a good voice and, nice boogie. I like a bit of boogie. We haven't had much boogie on the programme of late, have we? We did hear a little bit of Major Glenn Miller earlier on. Only a snippet, though, I think. Was it Moonlight Serenade or something like that? So I thought we should have some more from Glenn.
trumpet man from out Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his craft. But then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, a-blowin' reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. They made him blow a bugle for his Uncle Sam. It really brought him down because he couldn't jam. The captain seemed to understand, because the next day the cap went out and drafted a band. And now the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. A toot, a toot, a toot-dilly-a toot, he blows it 8 to the bar. In boogie rhythm, you can't blow a note unless the bass and guitar is playing with him. He makes the company jump when he plays reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. He was the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. And when he plays boogie-woogie bugle, he was busy as a buzz bee. And when he plays, he makes the company jump 8 to the bar. He's a boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. Toot-toot-toot-da-da-toot-da-da-toot-toot. He blows it 8 to the bar. He can't blow a note if the bass and guitar isn't with him. The company company jumps when he plays reveille. He's a boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. Sleep with Boogie every night and wakes them up the same way in the early bright. They clap their hands and stamp their feet because they know how he plays. When someone gives him a beat, he really breaks it up when he plays reveille. He's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. When he plays reveille, he's the boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B.
I don't think you need me to tell you who that was. The Andrews Sisters. I told you we hadn't had enough boogie-woogie. 2 for the price of 1 there, almost. Well, you know, can't have too much, can you? I can't say it now. The boogie-woogie bugle boy of Company B. Don't say that after you've had a few glasses of red wine, whatever you do. Actually quite quirky lyrics when you listen to them, not bad at all, and that good close harmony sound of the Andrews Sisters went on for many a year. Great sound as well, and I can't remember the names for the life of me. I should have looked them up and I've forgotten now. Nope, can't remember. And before that, Caribbean Clipper with Glenn Miller, of course. And I think it was the AEF band or something like that, was it? The American band of the, AEF, I was right. November 1944, that was recorded. Now we'll go for something a little bit quirkier, very much closer to home, very much of the period, and, well, yes, a great entertainer of the troops during the time. George Formby, of course, was going strong during the war years. Just from across the way, and of course, no stranger to the Isle of Man, if you haven't seen No Limit, I dare say you could probably download it or something now. There used to just be the one film, I think, which came to the Isle of Man every year. And every year it seemed to get scratchier and there seemed to be more bits missing before I think someone thought, oh, better make a copy. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I always remember that it would come back to the cinema somewhere during TT week when I was a lad, and they would say, oh yes, No Limit showing again. But every year it just seemed to be in worse and worse condition, the film. I think it's all been cleaned up and preserved now. Thank the Lord. Someone did, in any case. Oh, I mean, what would happen if we lost our George at the TT? Terrible, with the Shuttleworth snap. Very timely as well. I'm not going to play the TT races, of course I'm not. I'm going to play something more wartime based. That's what it's all about this evening. Mr. Wu. He's an air raid warden now, you know.
There's a Chinese laundryman, the famous Mr. Wu. He's chucked his Limehouse laundry shop and his window cleaning too. He's got another job, and it's one of the best. Now he's doing his bit for England like the rest. And Mr. Wu is now an air raid warden, and don't he look cute in his new siren suit? He goes round every night to make the blackout sure. So if you've got a chink in your window, hey, you'll have another one at your door. His headquarters, it's plain, are down by Lover's Lane, and he goes there every evening anyhow. He'll flash his torch into the dark, and the girls all cover their laundromat, 'cause Mr. Wu's an air raid warden now. One night while on his beat, a couple he did meet. They were cuddling in a shelter anyhow. He said the all clear's gone, you see, and the chap said, boy, you're telling me, 'cause Mr. Wu's an air raid warden now. His cousin one way in, one day was helping him to move a time bomb from their shop, I vow. But it went off bang and there's no doubt, one way in flew one way out, and Mr. Wu's no air raid warden now. Oh, Mr. Wu is now an air raid warden, and don't he look cute in his new siren suit? He goes round every night to make the blackout sure. So if you've got a chink in your window, hey, you'll have another one at your door. A firebomb dropped one day, so close to him they say that he deserves a medal, they all vow. But perhaps what you don't understand, he put the fire out but he didn't use sand, 'cause Mr. Woo's an air raid warden now.
Yes, whether you get away with all those lyrics now, I suspect not. And the cheeky chappie, of course. Perhaps what you don't understand, he puts the fire out, but he doesn't use sand. I wonder what he could have used. Obviously a hosepipe of some sort. I think I'll leave it there.
Are you living, old man? 1, 2. Are you giving, old man? Soft shoe. Do the best that you can, won't you? Well, that's fine as the wine that you drink when you dine. Do you flip when you trip? 3, 4. Do you romp when you stomp? Pine floor. Do you glide when you slide? More, more. Well, that's sweet as the meat that you get when you eat. You'll find a cat today must be a hipster. Don't mind if you don't find the word in Webster. Why, he's as square as a bear. Do you rove in the grove? 5, 6. Do you leap when you creep? Do tricks. Do you thump when you jump? Fine kicks. I can see by your spree that you're living, old man. I can see by your spree that you're living, old man.
Wonderful stuff. Anita O'Day with Stan Kenton. Great sound. And did we do a little retrospective on her some time ago? I think we did, didn't we, Anita O'Day? Fantastic voice. You forget how good she was, I must admit. And Stan Kenton has band, perhaps known as sort of some of those high notes and being quite a high octane band, but nice laid back sound there. Enjoy that very muchly indeed. Well, I don't think we could finish off without having, well, we've got to have a little bit of Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square, haven't we? It's another wartime classic, I think. And we'll go sweet on this one. We've had everything this evening, haven't we? We've had bombs and we've had Churchill, we've had Eisenhower, George Formby, the English Chamber Orchestra, and that's what we're going to have again now. Some wartime favourites with Isabel Buchanan and the English Chamber Orchestra. I thought we'd heard a nice, sweet version from her of the classic A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square.
I still remember how you smiled and said, was that a dream or was it true? Our homeward step was just as light as the tap dancing feet of a stair, and like an echo far away, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I know 'cause I was there that night in Berkeley
Oh, yes. It is a classic, isn't it? No matter what version you heard. We could have had Vera Lynn, I know, but we've had Vera already this evening, so I thought it'd be nice to hear Isabel Buchanan, the English Chamber Orchestra, and Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. Very nice indeed. The song itself, written in 1939 and published for the first time in 1940. Lyrics by Eric Maschwitz and music by the wonderfully named Manning Sherwin, and refers, of course, to the Ritz. I think you all know the Ritz, just by the corner of the square there, opposite outside Mayfair, adjacent to Green Park. Get a wonderful tea there, I'm told. We tried once. I don't know whether we actually got in or not. And it was written in the small French fishing town, not written in London at all, the piece of Le Lavandou, a favourite with British holidaymakers somewhat these days, although I can't say I've ever been, just before the outbreak of the Second World War. Made popular by all sorts of people. You name it, I think anyone worth their salt has sung a Nightingale, sang in Berkeley Square, from, I don't know, Michael Bublé to Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra and Vera Lynn, and it goes on and on and on. We'd be here all night if we did the list of who's sung it. It was based, I think, on a short story, When the Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square, by Michael Arlen, published a decade or so earlier in 1923 as part of a collection he called These Charming People. And according to Maschwitz, the title of the song was stolen from that story, presumably the idea as well. The song had its very first performance when it became written in the summer of 1939 in a local bar there in France, where the melody was played on the piano by Manning Sherwin, with the help of a resident saxophonist playing as well. And Maschwitz sang the words, it's reported, while holding a glass of wine. Nobody bothered to actually pay any attention, apparently. No one thought much of it. Probably didn't even look up from their glasses of Stella Artois, or probably rosé, I'd imagine they're drinking, whatever the case may be. So it didn't have the most auspicious of starts. But it was noted by much later on, when it became a very famous piece and this story sort of came to light. And it was a sort of an expedition, as it were, somewhat nicer expedition than the British Expeditionary Force, was set up in the spring of 2002, hoping that they might be able to find the exact bar where the song was first performed so they could put a blue plaque on it. With the help of the local tourist office, they questioned lots of elderly people round and about, but at the end of the day, no one could actually decide where it might have been. So it fell flat, I'm afraid. A bit of a disaster. Additional lyrics were added to the second verse, but they're not often sung these days. And then it was published in 1940 when it was first performed in the London Review New Faces by Judy Campbell, later the mother of Jane Birkin, of course, and also performed by Ray Noble and Vera Lynn, and is a recurring theme in the Fritz Lang film Manhunt, if you remember it. Maybe you don't. And also notably sung, of course, by Elsie Carlyle. And one of the old maestro's favourite tunes. That's about it for another Sweet and Swing. A little bit of a special, as I say, to mark those 80th anniversary D-Day landings and the sacrifice that was made for so many people by so many. So the likes of you and me could probably be where we are now. Back to normal next week, I think, one way or another. And we'll have a look at where people are listening on the pods. Why not? Till then, look after yourselves. See you then. Cheerio.